All right, guys, we are now
What's going
live
on, everybody?
for the Loudmouth 4th and 15 roundtable. And our special guest, we are greatly appreciate to have you, Darryl Spencer from the U. Sir, thank you very much for taking the time out tonight. We
No
also
problem.
got,
Thanks for
again,
having me.
Mel and Smooth from 4th and 15. Again,
What's
we'll
up,
jump
folks?
right into it. Mel, go ahead and you can lead off.
Okay. Being that you were part of arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, runs for a college football team in history, I gotta ask, what was it like back then playing in the Orange Bowl? Because like you hear the stories about it, but seeing it is something totally different. So I want to know what it was like for you
I mean,
playing in the Orange Bowl.
it was a special group of guys. Really the greatest time of my life. Even better than the NFL days. I would say that time of my life was truly the best time of my life, without a doubt.
Okay. I gotta ask this because this is me personally. Running through the smoke, was that like one of the biggest adrenaline rushes, or did you guys
Oh,
just,
that was a
you know,
it made you feel invincible once you ran through that smoke. It was something that we look forward to it week in and week out. In the Orange Bowl especially, but it made us feel invincible, like we could do anything. That smoke was like our superpower, so to speak. So it was something we look forward to at every home game, and it worked because we never lost
okay.
a home game while I was there anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
Now, again, you
that's
touched on it.
amazing. Okay,
Now, again, you
so
touched
what?
on it a little bit whenever you were talking about, again, going from the Orange Bowl up to the NFL. How was that transition, again, back then, especially since I'll say a lot of people looked at Miami as such a giant force that it was all, I can only assume that it felt like almost being in the NFL.
Yeah, it did. It did. I mean, NFL is much more of a business, and you see that when you get there.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot different from college ball. You're on your own. It's like a 9 to 5. You go to work, go home. And that's your job. College, is a different atmosphere. You have school, you have different things, you have friends you hang out with. Not to say you didn't hang out in the NFL, but it's more of a job. You have to treat it as such, or you won't last long. That's for sure.
Right.
Okay,
I probably
I
could last a
can't
lot
get,
longer if I realized that sooner.
I feel like that's
but you
for
were
probably a
there.
lot of guys.
Yeah,
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 I mean,
but you were there, so
the
can't nobody
one
tell
thing I
you.
remember that a guy told me when I first got to the Falcons, he said, congratulations, you made the team. But it's a lot harder to stay here than it is to get here. And he was on point with that. It's easier to make the team rather than stay on the team. You have to work twice as hard to stay on the team long term.
Right. Okay, I can't get Wes. I know you and Wesley are good friends, and you guys were awesome on the field together, but I cannot get him to tell me. So I'm gonna ask you, what was it like in the FSU rivalry? Because you guys knew each other. It was high school rivalries there. What was that like for you?
That was the game that was circled on the calendar every year. It was that was our bowl game. I mean, we went to a lot of bowl games as well, but that was the game that we circled every year. Just like you said, because of we were familiar with all the guys. We either played against them or played with them in high school, and not to say it was nasty, but it was very competitive. And of course, a lot of hard hits, and it was very competitive throughout the game. And every year we look forward to it because we know based on that game would determine your future, for at the end of the year. So it was an important game to win the state, pretty much.
Nice. Okay, last question from me. The 1991 Cotton Bowl. Whose idea was it to knock old boy, the kick returner from Texas, out on the first play of the game?
That was Robert Bailey's
I have
idea.
to ask.
Robert Bailey, he said he was going to do it, and he did it. that started the game out, and it was a route from there.
So, bro,
they
y'all
had
have.
pissed us off. We felt that we should have been in the national championship game that year, and going out there pretty much was a slap in the face. So we were already pissed off on the whole trip, and we just wanted to kick ass and go home, and that's what we did.
Clearly, Because like I don't know if y'all ever watched it, but for the folks at home, go back on YouTube and watch the 1991 Cotton Bowl, Texas versus Miami. Like you don't even see Bell till he runs into the picture and just smacks the kick returner. Dude doesn't even know where he's at trying to get up. And I don't even think the dude came back into the game because he was out.
Yeah, he was out for the game, I believe. But it definitely was a Kickstarter to the game. Definitely Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. I thought he killed him. You guys
Ronnie,
got anything that?
Yeah, Ronnie, you got anything for him? I'll leave mine to the end.
Okay. Can y'all hear pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Cool. So, Darryl, a few things, man. And this is something that, we were going back and forth about, and I'm like, I'm gonna be that guy. I have to ask the weird questions. So, Catholics versus convicts, man. So, how did that make you feel? What was that all about, man? Like, what you being, somebody that was at the U, man. Like, what did that mean for you? Like, how did that hit you, man? What was that like?
It was a slap in the face, and we know a lot of Notre Dame guys as well, and they were far from Catholics for sure. They were dirty, talked a lot of crap, and but they painted the picture as those being the good guys and we were the bad guys, and we liked it. We liked being a bad guy, because we knew we were going to go anywhere and just and play ball and use that as a chip on our shoulder to control the game, and that's what we did most of the time. But it was a slap in the face, though. Pretty much slap in the face. It was fuel for us, so we liked it. We enjoyed it.
Okay, all right. And then also got to ask too, man, because I know it's a few people out there, listening, probably like wondering a few things. So did you have any time playing alongside, like with guys like Warren Sapp, The Rock, if you had that opportunity, like what was that like if you knew them personally? And then also following along with that, I want to say the same thing about Jesse Armstead.
Well, I mean, all those three guys you mentioned were great people, great athletes, of course. But I mean, those guys went on to do big things. But I mean, when we were at Miami, we were all brothers. Everybody was equal. Everybody worked hard together. What you did after Miami, everybody did their own thing and went their own ways, and some people made it big. But there, we were all the same. We were all brothers. We all loved each other. We were family. It was family atmosphere. We were tight. We were a tight bond. It was us against the world, really, is what it was. And that's why we were so successful.
Yeah, that's always a fun mentality to play with.
Yeah, it is, and it's dangerous to another team too. So
absolutely,
yeah, it is, man. I mean, you figure if you get a bunch of guys together like that who can bond and have that brotherhood out there on the gridiron, man.
Yeah,
you're like unstoppable, especially when you click, and that's just amazing to hear, bro. Also, I got to ask you too, on top of all of that, and this is the one question that I ask everybody. For somebody who is up and coming, man, do you have anything inspiring you want to say to some of the guys watching that's, in that position where they're about to jump to college or could be taking that next step to go pro? Is there anything that you would have to say to them or any advice you have for them?
I mean, really, just work hard. I mean, there's no substitute for hard work and being consistent. I mean, if you're gonna do anything, you got to be consistent at it. If you're going to be good at it, work hard, stay consistent, stay out of trouble. Of course, that's another big thing. And whatever your goals are, write them down, and try to attain them one at a time. Don't try to skip to the end and reach your final goal. Just one at a time, step by step. Write it down. It seems to work, and you achieve it step by step. And stay consistent with it is the main thing.
Absolutely.
I like that. So I got two for you, Darryl. So outside of the Florida teams that you constantly played against, was there another squad or another college team that you really liked to play against that kind of boosted that game feel to that next level, kind of like another rivalry game?
Florida State was really our rival game. anyone else was just somebody on the schedule that ran our way and we were going to steamroll them. Is the way we felt.
Here you go.
And it really didn't matter who we played, Florida State, Notre Dame, whoever it was. We felt it was anywhere, anytime, any place. Back then we didn't care who it was, who you were. You say the place, say the time, and the site, and we were going to be there to handle our business. And that's what we did.
I like it. And then one other thing. So obviously in the college landscape nowadays, we're moving, or the NCAA is moving to the new rule that they just enforced this year to take over in 2021 with the fair pay to play. Just want to pick your brain. How do you feel about the NCAA kind of lifting those rules where, again, players are, I'll say, just amateurs, and now they can actually make money off their likeness and actually get a piece of the pie, kind of?
I think it's long overdue. Players have done a lot from universities. Mostly the football teams have made a lot of money for schools over the years. And yeah, they say we get our, room and board and scholarships. And that's true. But also we make a lot of money, under our name, our likeness, or our jerseys, whatever they may be for the school. So I think it's long overdue that those student athletes get a little piece of the pie. Some guys are there, don't have very much money at all, come from, humble backgrounds, and that would help them. They actually need a little money to get through school. So I think it's long overdue.
Anybody else have anything else for Darryl? Darryl, we'll make it short and sweet for you so you can take care of everything else. Again, we forgot to also mention, I hope everything's going well with your family since we had to postpone that last show. Hopefully everybody's feeling better.
Everything's good now. I appreciate you asking.
All right, good, brother.
I got one more question. I wasn't a fan of Erickson, but who was your favorite quarterback while you were playing? Was it Walsh? Was it Toretta? Erickson? If you had to pick.
Oh, man, that's a tough question. I mean, they were all good, all of them. I would say I played mostly with Gino and Erickson, so it's hard to pick between those two guys. I think they were both great athletes, great quarterbacks, great leaders. So it's hard to. I couldn't pick between those two guys because I think they were both great, and I had a great chemistry with both those guys.
Oh, one more. I didn't know this. You guys were independent up until '93 when the Big East started implementing full league play.
Yeah.
So who started the fight between y'all and San Diego State? Was it them or was it y'all?
I'm trying to think. I believe it was Mark Caesar, if I remember correctly. And it wasn't him. It was the guy. He was getting into it with with one of the offensive linemen, and I think he had just sacked the quarterback, and the lineman came to him and had a little altercation with him. And Mark, if you know Mark Caesar, he's kind of the type of guy that's not going to back down. So once that started, it was on from there. Yeah. It was on.
And just for the people at home, they ended up winning that game. I think it was like 39-12, rather.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Back then, you don't start nothing with the youth because you don't get blown out.
Yeah, that wasn't wise back then. We were a different team back those days. I hope we get that mentality back again, And I think we can eventually.
Yeah, definitely a work in progress.
Have you been back to the school since?
Yeah.
Since then, since you guys left?
I try to make at least a game a year. Sometimes that can't happen with my schedule, but I try to make it back whenever I can, for sure.
Man.
All right, fellas. Anything else we got for short and sweet? But hey, Darryl, it was great to have you. Again, thank you very much for taking the time out of your night to spend a little time with us. Again, I hope everybody stays healthy, and again, thank you for stopping by.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me, guys.
Welcome back anytime.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Pleasure.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right, Darryl. Have a good night. All right, guys. That was awesome.
Okay. Yeah, it was.
Mel's already locked ready to go.
No, that wasn't it. This one. On this one, that wasn't it. It's just to have him on the show. and to hear it from his perspective, because the documentary don't really tell everything. We all saw the documentaries. It didn't tell everything, so it was like to hear his side of it and just hear it from somebody that was actually on the field and not just it felt like, I ain't gonna say given a script, but it felt like you couldn't really tell or say what you wanted to because they weren't asking the questions that needed to be asked. So to hear, what it's like running through the smoke, playing at the Orange Bowl, and just the rivalry games, I think younger college kids in this generation need to hear that a lot more.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that. And again, I love whenever Ronnie always asks that question. Do you have like one shining light that do you want to pass on to the younger generations? And again, our last now 3 guests that we've had, again, it's almost the same message. Hard work can never be abandoned, and again, keep your head down and do your thing. And I mean,
well,
again,
you got to work. You can't just sit and wake up and then think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we get it because we've all been there, but I feel like, again, being a coach, stuff like that, dealing with, again, some of the younger groups, they don't completely understand it until, unfortunately, it's past them.
Right.
What struck me with talking with Darryl, too, was the fact that he said you have to work twice as hard to stay than getting there. And I was like, man, because that kind of perspective, to hear from that end, which is different, it's more powerful. Because for me, it's like, I'm thinking the other way around, like, okay, you busting your butt, do what you got to do. Whether it's making sure you're keeping your grades up so you can stay eligible, and then you get drafted and all of that, and you're there, and then you make it through camp, they get your contract, whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, if you're not on the practice squad, maybe you win, right? But to hear him say that and be like, you got to work twice as hard to stay, it's like, wow, okay. Because in my mind, I'm forgetting that there's so many other guys year after year getting drafted, coming in, trying to be the next whatever. And when he said that, it all clicked. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're pretty much fighting to keep your job because there's always somebody else who's going to be behind you that's trying to, snatch it away. So
and
especially
the last 3 guys that we've talked to, they've all been either wide receiver or DBs. And I mean, as we all know, I mean, again, there's top guys, but again, there's always wide receivers everywhere and DBs looking for that shot.
Yeah, them skill players, man, it's different because, like, you figure guys like us, man, when you're on the line, man, if you that dude and you dominant and you consistent, it's so hard for you to lose your position.
Yeah, it's hard to get knocked off that mountain.
Yeah. Telling you, because once you find that kind of like person you can trust to do what they're supposed to do, why would you mess that up? You know what I mean? But when it comes to somebody who got them hands coming in and you got that guy who's just a little bit quicker or a little better laterally or whatever, man.
And especially O-line, especially left and right side. Like once that right guard, left guard have that chemistry and again, they are able to work without really talking. That's where losing your job, it takes a lot to move one of those guys out of those positions.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you already know as a skill player, it's even harder because somebody's on waivers, somebody they bringing in from another league. You really in a dogfight damn near every practice. Not every game, every practice.
If you have a little bit of a cold spell, and again you go a couple games without catches or enough yards to make people happy, unfortunately they feel that they can move too quick.
Yeah, because this ain't baseball. You can't hit a slump and then come back 2 games later and just kill it and everything's forgiving. You got 16 weeks. You got 16 weeks. You better perform every week.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. And George, I like what you said about that, communication between guards and how things went on in the O-line, especially in the interior, because this is something that me and Mel talked about, back when Zeitler had went to New York, and already knew what it was because like the success that Chubb had, and then you got somebody like that who leads the line. I'm like, you're not gonna find anybody to replace him. Like I just kept talking about it over and over again, and other people I would talk to, because Mel has the knowledge, so he knows what I mean. But like I was talking to
Yeah.
other folks about that, and they look at me like, "What are you talking about? Like it's cool, man. I'll put somebody in there." I'm like, you don't understand. A lot of those
No.
yards that this man got was from the interior. Okay, it wasn't him just bouncing outside. He was blasting up the middle, like big gaps. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
And when they lost him, I said, look, he gonna get stuffed, right? He did his thing this year, but he still got stuffed a little bit. And on top of that, you put the right blitz package in there, man. Baker ain't had no time to do nothing.
That was my huge thing whenever Seattle
Nobody
traded
believed it.
Max Unger to the Saints for Jimmy Graham. They
Ooh,
they released a Pro Bowl or Pro Bowl All Pro center
that's what I'm
for
saying.
a weapon that the Seahawks really never used.
They never used him, right? Like, man,
And then once Unger left, like the whole entire O line just fell apart because
yep,
they didn't
they ain't
have
been
that
back
leader
since.
anymore. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like they're still their running game's not the same. I mean, Russell Wilson leads their team in rushing, which I think is wild. But
And
I
they had
mean,
You're
like
not
5
Michael
running
Vick, so
backs.
that should never happen. With a
right.
quarterback like Russell Wilson, that should never happen.
Yeah, Russell's mobile, but yeah, he's not like a Lamar Jackson or Mike Vick.
Nope.
Right.
Nope. That's crazy.
Speaking of quarterbacks, now I'm gonna do it. Okay. You
I was
had
looking for that transition. I was looking for that transition.
Oh, you knew it was coming.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
You put a post up the other day about Hugh Jackson wanting the Browns to sign Colin Kaepernick back in 2017. Now, my comment was he's full of it. He was full of shit, and I didn't believe that he really wanted it. Here's why, and I'm going to explain this so people out there understand why I'm saying this. George, Ronnie, we've all played football. There's no secret.
Yep.
You know just as well as I do, if you're stinking up the joint bad enough, they're going to replace you at any position. I don't care if it's quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defensive end. If you suck and you keep sucking throughout the course of the season, you're going to get benched.
Yep.
So back in 2017, here were the starting quarterbacks and the quarterbacks on the roster for the Browns. Cody Kessler, Deshaun Kaiser, Kevin Hogan. Cody Kessler came into the season 2017, 126 yards passing, one interception. He was 0-1. Deshaun Kaiser started 15 games, got 2,800 yards, 11 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, 419 rushing yards. He was 0-15. Kevin Hogan came in with 517 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He didn't really do much. That was the 2017 quarterback roster for the Browns. In 2016, Colin Kaepernick was still on the 49ers. He had 2,200 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He also came in with 468 rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a coach, please be honest with me. If you're a coach and you know your quarterback situation is the most fucked up quarterback situation in the NFL, why are you going to sit? Kessler didn't do shit. Kaiser stinks. He's not accurate. His QBR rating was 53.9. You were just over 50% completion percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kevin Hogan really didn't get a shot. I kind of expected that because they had him third string. So you had Kessler and Kaiser, really. And you went 0-16. That was 2017. So if you know as a coach, your quarterback situation is fucked up and Colin Kaepernick is sitting right there, why would you wait till 2020 to say, well, I wanted him back then. It just wasn't my call. Mind you, Ronnie, you know this just as well as I do. Mind you, in 2017, the owner, Jimmy Haslam, was going through his case with Pilot J for embezzling millions of dollars. If you were in a situation where you about to get hit for embezzling millions of dollars, supposedly, wouldn't you try to find another distraction to destroy the shit that's going on with you right now? And Colin Kaepernick is sitting right there. What did Eazy-E say? Bad news is still good publicity.
Exactly.
So,
like, why not sign him in?
Exactly. So why would you not? Why would you leave him sitting there? I wouldn't, especially if I know if I'm a coach and I'm supposed to be this quarterback guru. I got 3 shitty quarterbacks. I got one that's in waivers who just 3 years ago came from a Super Bowl. So he has the capability to win. Not only that, he's proven he can win. Statistically, he may not be where you want him to be, but he took care of the ball. He was able to manage the game. And on top of that, he's a winner.
Well, again, it's the Browns. Like, how much worse could it get?
Exactly. That's my point.
I mean, it really boils down, like you said. I mean, even at that point where Cap was at his highest of people looking down on it or anything along those lines, why not bring him in and try to, I'll say, essentially hush it up? Not saying that you have to shut him up, but hush the bad publicity, just like Philly did, just like the Steelers did whenever they brought Vic back. And again, like, let's look at it real black and white. Vic did a lot worse than what Cap did. So you're telling me that your PR team couldn't figure a way to make that work to have a good quarterback come in?
It's crazy.
So
it's crazy.
To the person that asked me, you know, why do I think Hugh Jackson is full of shit? This is why. If you're this coach who's supposed to be the man at grooming quarterbacks, getting them ready to go to the next level, your quarterback situation as a coach, a head coach, is the shittiest out of 32 teams. Not 5, not 10, 32. Why would you not bring Cap in? So to say that he wanted him, I don't buy it. And the reason I don't buy it is because you've seen every coach from Bill Cowher to Bill Walsh. If you have a bad quarterback situation, you're going to find a way to replace him with a good quarterback until the quarterback you drafted or your backup quarterback can get you where you need to be. It's been proven. Marv Levy had Jim Kelly and Frank Reich. Nobody really remembered who Frank Reich was. All they knew was he was good for leading comebacks. Jim Kelly goes down. They go to the playoff game against Houston, get beat on. It's 31-3 at halftime. What does Frank Reich do? He gets them back into the game. They end up going to the Super Bowl. That was a shitty situation to be in. Michael Vick, like y'all brought up, he wasn't even at the house. And they threw him under the bus. Yeah. He was still in his prime. He comes back 2.5 years later, still lights it up. Everybody's mad because he had a part in it. Clearly, Philly knew how to spin a bad situation. Pittsburgh knew how to spin a bad situation, and he won.
And I don't understand whenever Mike Vick came back, I forget how many seasons back with Philly, he got another $100 million contract. So people were willing to put money on him to continue to carry that team. And again, this is my biggest issue with, and I guess I'll say coaches saying, oh, the front office won't let me sign Cap. And like, we've been hearing this ever since Cap was asked for his release from the 49ers. It is, oh, they won't let me sign him. Or, oh, they won't let me add this guy to my coaching staff.
If Al Pacino can start really beaming, if Al Pacino can tell Cameron Diaz, and that's a fictional movie, if Al Pacino can tell Cameron Diaz, I'm starting Willie Beeman, not Cat Rooney, I think Hugh Jackson could have walked up to the front office and said, "Get me Cap or else."
Yep.
What's the worst that can happen? They fire you. You was already gonna get fired. You went 0-16. You were already gonna be on the hot seat anyway, if not gone.
I'm
So why
looking
not
at
walk into
even.
a rookie?
I'm
I was gonna
looking
say,
at
why
even
not
other
walk into a
quarter.
rookie owner's office?
I
Cut it out.
mean, granted, the Browns do have a new GM every other year, but
Even with that, you still have enough power on the team because
True.
you're running the field, the day-to-day field operations. That's your job as head coach. They run the money, you run the team. So there's no reason to sit there and say, "Oh, how do you know that he's full of it?" He had enough power to go get him.
He
It was
did. Cause
simple.
we gonna blame it on Sashi Brown.
Sashi didn't know enough about football. Let's just call it what it is.
Exactly.
That's a true
He was a
statement.
stats guy.
So yeah, so you can throw him under the bus all you want, but he had Hugh Jackson as a head coach in the NFL. I don't care if you're black, white, candy apple, red, or purple. As a head coach in the NFL or even college football, if you want somebody bad enough, they will make a way for you to get them. And Hugh Jackson dropped the ball completely because you had enough power to walk in the office and say, "Jimmy, I know you ain't, I know you ain't with all this, and I know you got a lot of shit you going through right now, but you want a distraction? Get me Cap." That's all he had to say.
Yep.
That's all he had to say. Get me Cap. We could take whatever heat you got going on because it was publicized. ESPN, CBS, ABC, everybody covered this Haslam case, and you're telling me, you got off, but you knew it was a fucked up situation, and you knew you needed a distraction. You mean to tell me you couldn't say, "Go get me Cap"? As an owner, I'm saying, "Go get me Cap."
Right.
I don't need nobody else asking me nothing about Flying J or Pilot J or whoever the fuck I own. I don't need nobody else asking me about it. Get me Cap. Let Cap take the heat. Let Cap get on the field, do what he do. Everybody break even. That's how I look at it.
And you know what? On top of that, any sport, there hasn't been one sport where somebody did something bad, came back, balled out, and the fans had a problem still. Think about it. Kobe. With that whole situation, when he went from 8 to 24, people loved that man. Even though all that stuff went down, they loved him. Still do, right? God
Let's
bless
do
him.
one even better. Ben.
See?
When
That's
Ben
what I'm
got hit with
saying.
that rape charge, he came back 3,000 yards. They in the playoffs, damn near going to the Super Bowl. Or if I'm not mistaken, they went to the Super Bowl. All
And nobody cared. And nobody cared about all that stuff that went down in the public eye. Don't even care no more.
Exactly.
Swept under the rug. You did what? Oh, well, you won, so.
Yeah. We can't be too mad. You did get us to the Super Bowl, even though you lost, but you got us there. So we're gonna give you that much.
Yep.
I forget the other guy. I'm trying to Dante Stallworth.
Steroid. A-Rod.
Or A-Rod. Well, I mean, you can name a long list of baseball players.
Yeah.
Dante Stallworth. That one
actually hit a man and
you can name a long list of players, period.
Oh yeah, I mean,
killed him.
Like, well, the heart, like, I mean,
killed him.
You think of all the everything
Drunk
that
driver killed him.
Fuck, I forget what player it was passed out drunk at a stoplight. I mean, and again, we talk about things that have happened that got swept under the rug, and like people try to come back to, but again, we talk about what Cap did wasn't illegal or bad or anything. He tried bringing in something into the spotlight. But again, these leagues continue to have people that actually have recorded things that were
illegal.
Bad. Everybody forgets about whenever Terrell Suggs beat the shit out of his wife and then poured bleach on his wife, or bleach on his kid and his wife. Like, those are the things that we all forget about because it really wasn't the height of social media, but then again, I'll say it, their play overshadowed it, so everybody forgot about it. Outside
Yep.
of Cap and like maybe Ray Rice, those are the only two guys that have ever been ousted from the league. And Ray Rice is the only thing that actually did something illegal.
Exactly. And then you can even go back as far as like, accusations. And you think about like Ray Lewis and what he went through. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's like a fond memory too. It's just crazy. Like as soon as you play well after any of that stuff happening, people be
Regardless
like, "Oh, you
of
cool.
that,
You winning games."
I was gonna say Ray Lewis.
Mm-hmm. Again, like
Right. So that's why to answer that post, that's why
you're breaking up. Go ahead. Reed.
yeah, two,
Ronnie, is that just him or is everybody breaking up?
or bring in
Can you
the
hear me well?
championship.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
you
I
bring in
think
the championship, or you
Mel's all
do
backed
something
up.
positive on the field. All's forgiven.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if, again, the different steroid guys in the MLB.
So I just don't understand how. Like, I get it. It's okay. My bad. I get it. It's cool to question everything, but we as journalists, we see it from a totally different perspective than everybody else. It's probably just me. Can you hear me?
You're just real broken up.
Is it
Yeah.
me? It's probably me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
All
a
right.
little bit. Your video is just broken up.
I'm trying to say, get it. Everybody's a fan.
Your video is broken up real bad, Mel. So is your audio.
Oh,
No, that's not us, Ronnie. I think his audio and video is jacked. But again, what he was, I'm assuming, trying to
That
say
big in
again.
2 years.
Oh, here we go.
That's the Steve Latimer case in the program all over again. So, and what did he do? Him and Mark McGwire come run chase for the season, and everybody forgets about it.
yep.
Yeah.
So all right, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Hey, you got oh, no. Oh. Okay, you got me? Okay. Just
Maybe.
shorten it like this. Everybody remembers the home run season, the season between McGwire and Sosa.
Yep.
Seasonal home run record.
Yeah.
You knew they were on steroids. There's nobody hitting 60-something home runs like that just off a whim. Mark McGwire ends up getting the record. Everybody forgot about it. So my thing is, if you're gonna chastise or question why we as journalists don't believe certain things, just pay attention to it. It's not hard, and I'm not taking away from nobody. I'm not calling anybody stupid. It's just when you pay attention to it, it makes a lot more sense to say, yeah, I call bullshit. So in this Hugh Jackson situation, if you wanted him, you knew your situation. You knew your situation was fucked up. You did nothing to fix it. That's why I call bullshit. When Ronnie sent me this, actually, he sent me the trade rumors about Browns getting Russell Wilson. There's no fucking CS giving him.
That was the dumbest thing, man.
You give up Russell Wilson, that whole city will burn. It'll burn worse than any riot you can show me.
Yeah.
That's why I call bullshit on Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson been lying from the gate because he had enough power to do a lot. And you got arguably behind closed doors, one of the best owners at the time in Al Davis. You act like Al Davis, and you act like Al Davis wouldn't do anything to help his team. That man that had that team since 1960, while Kaepernick is sitting on the bench or sitting at home doing nothing, and he gonna say, "Yeah, we gonna pass on Cap." Ain't no way in hell. Al Davis would have had him on the first flight.
Yep.
To
You
Oakland.
already know Al Davis would have took that.
Rest in peace, Al Davis. So for me, that's why I call bullshit on the Hugh Jackson story. I mean, if you guys got anything else, I did want to touch on this because George, I did want to touch on this because you brought it up with the free play to play. If you ask me, I think those former, because if it wasn't for them, a lot of college football would be boring.
Oh, I mean, put it this way. Honestly, you think about
I can't think of how many times I done got in trouble for a penalty because I saw. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, if anything, for most of the Miami teams, the game got kind of reeled back because how many, I'll say, boring people decided to make rules because they were pissed at how Miami played. Again, I believe it was them. If you don't like me scoring, stop me from getting into the end zone. If you don't like me celebrating, stop me. That was like my favorite thing about Arena and being able to actually, you were encouraged to celebrate. If I put up 70 points on you and get to celebrate 10 different ways and you don't like it, stop me from getting into the end zone yet then. And again, that was the one fun thing about Miami.
Y'all scored 102 on a team at one point.
We won't talk about that.
I scored 102 points. Hey, man, I ain't going to talk about it. All I'm going to say is that will apply very much so when you score 102 points on the team and your head coach starts singing Purple Rain at the end of the game.
All I know is I think the most fun celebrating we had was whenever I played in NKY. We actually had a whiteboard on the sideline with different celebration ideas that after each touchdown we would just scratch off. That was probably the funniest thing ever because we knew we were going to go in scoring at least 10 times.
I mean, that makes sense. Y'all also had Jared Lorenzen at quarterback. Wasn't nobody sacking him at the time, so
no, and
I can see that.
Lasers.
I can believe that. I can believe it. I met him once, and I did not believe because when you go back and watch him in college, he's a little slim. So when you meet him, you don't believe he plays quarterback until you see how unbelievably accurate he is. And he's like, all right, now, how we going to take him down if we get to him?
Yeah. Well, again,
he was a cool guy.
The year we played together, a lot of people, and again, I'm not saying I look like Jared or have the arm like Jared, but there'd be times that I would just be throwing the ball during pregame like any other arena game, just warming up, like goofing around. And the other team's coach would come over and be like, "Hey, Jared, what's up?" I'm like, "I'm not Jared. Yes, I am fat and white, but I am not Jared." I said, and I also started laughing. I'm like, Jared is also a lefty. I'm a righty. But like again, Jared was a big dude, but he could move. I mean,
I believe
he was a lot of fun to play with, especially like during the huddle. During the huddle with him was absolutely hysterical because he'd go, "You guys block," and then he'd tell what the other wide receivers to do, and like that's how we ran our offense with the help of Brian Smith. Brian Smith. Brian Schmidt. That's how our offense ran. He goes, "You guys block how you want. You guys run these routes," and that's how we ran it. Or again, if he'd call a run play, I mean, it was hysterical.
You know what? That's the only pull something off like that. You could never. Oh, any other football, you could never pull that off.
Oh no,
and get
I
away
mean,
with it.
it was like backyard football, drawing plays in the dirt, except for he just drew them in his head, and it was wild.
Well, the man had a Super Bowl ring, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't really wasn't too much you could tell him that would go wrong.
I mean, it also helped that he also shared quarterback rooms with both Manning brothers. So I mean, he knew
Yeah,
football because
yeah,
he's like the
you in a
only.
room with any Manning, you
He's like one of the only
go ahead.
quarterbacks to ever share the room with both either Manning brother. It was hysterical.
But you could never go wrong with that though. Like anytime you
No,
share a room with Manning, whether it's Archie, Peyton, or Eli, you can't go wrong.
no. You just
So
listen and
that's
learn.
amazing, man. He will be missed. He will be missed. He's missed already, but just to hear stories like that, that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and then hearing, I mean, again, it's fun talking to guys like Darryl Spencer and asking like the transition, but like asking him about like locker room talk from like the NFL was absolutely hysterical. Like Eli Manning was probably the biggest clown he said he ever met with doing like pranks on rookies and stuff. As we all know, Jeremy Shockey was a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, that
Uh,
dude's nuts. That dude's nuts.
Clearly,
Man.
so Jared said the one time we were talking about all of it, Shockey said if he lived to the age 40, he'd be shocked. I don't know how old Shockey is now. He's probably roughly around that age. But Shockey had like that young dude wildlife mentality that he just didn't give a shit.
Didn't care ever.
yeah,
Hey,
you but yeah, that basically that I'm about to do a bunch of dumb shit and hope I don't die mentality. Yeah.
I forget what birthday it was. Jared said for his birthday they walked into a club. Like he bought Shockey bought an entire club for the night. And as you walked in, it was just a folding table full of bottles of Grey Goose, and he just handed out a
Oh,
bottle of Goose
Oh my
as you
god.
walked in the door. So you can only imagine how that night went.
that man solely is like, okay,
Yeah,
if
yeah. Tom,
YOLO was in the dictionary, his picture would be
Yes,
right
yes,
next to YOLO. Like literally, if it was in the dictionary, like YOLO and then Jeremy Shockey's picture right there.
yeah.
could you imagine that morning after? Not even you imagine the morning after, just waking up next to somebody you don't know, you ain't never probably ever seen before. Man,
Won't
what you
see
doing in
again.
my room?
And back then they didn't have
Weird,
Uber. They actually had to
weird
call a
diapers and
taxi.
stuff on your head.
Yep.
Oh my god, a taxi? Yeah, that's a wild story right there.
Sitting there waiting, like waiting. Like,
Yeah.
awkward silence, 15,
Yeah,
20 minutes into
he said
play.
he was gonna be here in a half hour.
Right. So what you doing
Yeah,
right now? What you about to get
he said
into?
he was gonna be here in that. Man, I'm waiting on this taxi right now. He said he was supposed to be here 10 minutes ago.
Right. Fast forward
It's
40 minutes
5:30 in the
later.
morning now.
That's like some of the stories that I heard about some Pittsburgh athletes when I used to bounce from like the detail cops. Hearing some of the stories from some of the like most of the Pens, but like Penguin players, like some of their stories were absolutely wild. And like I said, it's just funny how some people act. And again, most of it's harmless, but it's just dudes acting wild because they're grown ass kids with just money to spend.
Right.
Oh man, you gotta have fun. Matter of fact, we didn't even have money to spend. This is my first year in semi-pro, and I played for this team called the Invaders. They were playing in the NAFL. Now at the time, the NAFL was the largest semi-pro league in America, and we had to go out to Pittsburgh, play the Pittsburgh Colts. We got our asses kicked, and we stopped at this McDonald's on the way home. This McDonald's had a cardboard cutout of Jeff Reed, I believe, the kicker, and one our quarter. Of all people, why Jeff Reed, I don't know, but the cardboard cutout, and our quarterback just starts lollygagging with it. Just sitting up there talking to it. trying to keep a conversation going. We sitting up here like, why are you into a cardboard cutout? He's like, man, I'm just trying to have fun after a bad loss. Next thing I know, we're back on the bus. He walks on the bus with the Jeff Reed cardboard cutout. Walks up there, tries to sit it down in the seat. Tries to sit it in the seat. Couldn't sit it down, so he had to give it back. He goes back in there to give it back to the people, and the manager and the people like work at the McDonald's. Like, how did you even walk out of here and we didn't see that? Man,
Right.
you wouldn't even understand. Like, dude, you realize you almost got us in trouble. It's fun telling stories like that, even though they almost got us in trouble. Oh, so yeah, I could just imagine what you heard, the stories you heard with guys that got money.
The bus rides, like, again, I loved playing and I loved the I'll say Monday through Friday grind, but those bus rides are probably some of the best rides that I'll never forget. Especially like most of the time whenever I played, again, being in PA, we aren't able to, well, now we are, but back then we weren't able to buy liquor or beer at any gas stations. So most of the other places that I ever played, you were allowed to while you're on the road. And my favorite was jumping on the bus after a game, whether it was a win or a lose, stopping at a gas station, and all of us hooligans jumping off the bus, running into the store, buying bottles and buying cases of beer, jumping on the bus. And we might as well had the bus from Motley Crue and just passing bottles and drinking beer, just chopping it up and acting goofy.
I could believe that with y'all, especially up in Erie.
Oh yeah,
ain't even rugby, bro. That's just
the Erie bus rides.
That's just goofy. Hysterical.
Period. The characters that we had up in Erie too. I mean, god damn, the amount of like guys would pack bottles knowing that we had like a 4-hour bus ride, and it's just having fun coming back and just bullshitting. I couldn't imagine now being on buses now with all the streaming services and like being able to watch. Like, I remember sitting on the bus and us only getting updates from like the Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather fights over like Facebook updates. Like, but like now hooking up to the TV system and actually being able to watch it. Like,
it's crazy. And then even like stuff that let's say you saw. Right. And somebody capturing you, wanting to post something crazy, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's just different, man. It's so different.
Oh yeah.
Thank God social media wasn't on back then, because I
know I've been on a couple streams.
Yeah,
I've been in trouble.
Oh, especially thank God early 2000s it still wasn't a thing, because it would have been one of those like walk into a party, everybody put their phone up, and it's getting left at the front of the bus. Like,
yep.
Especially what happened in Texas when we had like sleeping buses. I mean, especially like Texas.
Yeah, y'all sleeping buses. Feel cheated
because again, whenever I was in Texas, our shortest bus ride was probably 6 hours, and that was our shortest bus ride.
That's the shortest.
Whenever we went to West Texas, that was like a 12-hour bus ride. We'd leave the night before and drive through the night. It was nuts.
I can believe it. Because you was in what? You was in what? Corpus Christi or something like that?
Yeah, Corpus and 12, yeah.
Yep. Everybody leave your phone on the front of the bus. Don't say nothing. Just put it in the box.
Yeah.
Man.
Tell your girl you love her. You talk to her later. Put it on the front of the bus. I don't want to hear nothing.
Yeah. No being on the bus. No videotaping.
Yep. You know what? Because I think the best trip I had when we drove out to, I think it was Reading. We had to go play the ASI Panthers, man. I think the happiest I've been into the hotel knowing we had sleeper beds.
Yeah.
That's the best sleep I ever got as a player, man.
Just
It was
knocked.
the best sleep I ever got as a player. And I was rooming with the kicker, who was a cool dude. He was a cool guy. Hey man, that's the best dude to room with, man. You ain't got to worry about being woke up at odd hours of the night because he's snoring. Man, we got into the room. He put his books out. He was like, "Man, I'm about to study. I'll talk to you later." Damn, man, we can't holler, can't chat. Man, I gotta study. Cool. I'm gonna watch Rugrats.
Oh man.
And that's exactly what I did till I fell asleep.
Man, that was like the worst part about
But
being a
don't you know
hog is
what?
you always knew you were going to be rooming with another big dude.
Man. Bro, you know what? Last story I'm gonna tell you. We were I got cut from Saginaw, but 2011, 12, one or two. But I had Josh Pack as my roommate. So what Josh liked to do was, I get it. You guys are big, you fat, you sweat a lot. He would like turn off the heat. And we in Saginaw. It's freezing outside. This dude turned off the heat. Dude, you're sweating me out, man. I can't sleep like that. One, you already snoring. I got to deal with that. Two, you gonna cut the heat off, bro? Really? Finally, I had enough.
Saginaw,
Yes, Saginaw, Michigan. Sag
Saginaw,
nasty.
Michigan in fucking February.
Finally,
Jesus Christ.
Ooh, that's torture.
February. And
That's torture, bro.
here's the crazy part. When we finally got to Saginaw, it was blizzard that they had just blew over. They had mountains of snow in the parking lot. They cut off people's parking spots at the hotel we were staying at. Finally, I had enough. I think it was the third or fourth night. I had enough. It's like, dude, we got to switch rooms, and that's how he met Saunders, I believe. And I was like, man, no, is it Saunders? I believe it was Saunders. If I'm wrong, I apologize, Josh. But if it wasn't for him, man, I probably would have been a popsicle, man. Like every night he cut the heat off. Like, dude, do you realize how cold it is outside?
Do you know that I am a small person?
Right. I actually tried to use that. He cut the heat off anyway.
That's horrible.
I promise you, I used that exact line, and he cut the heat off anyway. I was like, dude, you realize I'm smaller than you, so I don't hold heat. I need heat. Later on that night, he cut the heat off. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. We ended up switching roommates. I had a good time with that, but man, that was how me and Pat really got to know each other. I couldn't take it, man. Why you gotta cut the heat off? Just give me something. You already snoring, man. But Josh, I love Josh, man. Josh is a cool bro. Josh is one of my coolest football buddies, man. That dude, I go to war with him anytime. If I knew I could get back into it, I call him Josh. Josh was that guy.
Yeah, I obviously made friends with them because, again, whenever I was in NKY and then whenever I was in obviously Erie, we talk about it all the time. Saginaw was like always our biggest rival, mainly because we were always the best two in the league. So we would always see each other a lot, and then again, just being in the trenches, we would just bullshit because I think me and him were like rookies together. I think, or he was in the league one more year ahead of me or something like that. But we would always chop it up, and then again, just talk about technique and stuff like that. Because again, even for the O line, like it's still a different beast to get used to pass rushers like that.
Yeah. And you know what? Now that I think about it, didn't y'all have the same quarterback at one point? Because didn't you guys both have McKenna?
No, McKenna was at Erie before I got there. I think it was the 2012 season. Erie had McKenna, and then 2013, when we won the ring, Saginaw had McKenna, and they had to play at Erie against us. So he had to come back to his old team and lose.
Hey man, I hope you ain't rubbed that in, man, because he got an arm, man. He got a
Oh,
legit
he,
arm. Man.
he's a hell of a arena quarterback. I never knew him real personal, but I mean, watching him play, I mean, he was a hell of a quarterback. Uh, I honestly wish that I would have been able to watch Tommy Jones play more. He was the quarterback up in Saginaw for a minute,
Down in Dayton.
and then he had him in Dayton. Yeah, and we played against him. So again, there was a lot of dudes that I'll say in the lower levels of arena that again I got to spend time on the field with, and I mean it was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was. Especially like just knowing and when you first meet these dudes and then you do your research and knowing that they have history everywhere they go, that's awesome.
Yeah. Again, I mean that was one of the things that like if I wouldn't have boogered my knee up in 13, I wish I would have been able to continue playing just because again, same thing like you said, even like some of the lower indoor league arena leagues, like there is some ballers down there. And a lot of guys that I played against or played with played D1. It's just they never got any sniffs and they wanted to continue to ball. So that was their path.
That's you know what? The path that I took, I wouldn't trade that for anything because that path was so much fun. It made me learn a lot, you know, and even with that, I got knowledge I can pass on to younger guys.
Oh yeah. It's I mean, again, it's just a full that world is just a different beast. Almost like Joe was talking about that forces you to learn different things and Joe was the perfect example saying that he was a DB and learning or playing against high motion previously, now going to Canada where they have live motion towards the line of scrimmage. And just having those different abilities is it's just a different beast. There's no way else to explain it.
And I wouldn't trade it for anything because that got me ready to play outdoors. And like I said, when you because I know aren't if I'm not mistaken, you are coaching now, aren't you? Or you're about to be coaching.
Nah, so this year I think I'm taking a hiatus. Last year I've been coaching from 2010 through last season, but for some different circumstances, my staff was let go from the school that we were at recently. They, I guess, had a different viewpoint than us on the program, so they told us they didn't need our services anymore. Is what it is, but a lot of the guys on our staff were older, so some of them kind of wanted to enjoy part of their retirement, but then the younger guys, again, we all have growing families, and we haven't had the time to kind of spend with them. Like, I mean, last season, the only time I ever saw my daughter was like Sunday nights. So I think this year
Yeah,
with my new daughter, I'm gonna just enjoy being dad for a season
right.
and then get to be that again, be that annoying ass fan that just sits on the couch and is a couch coach and just yelling at the screen. So
Hey, I'll be that. I'll be that.
hey, there's
Uh,
nothing. I mean, there's nothing bad about it. But again, we all know that guy that barely played through high school and not at a good high school and
yeah,
talk shit on Facebook all the time.
Man.
yeah. Hey, Ronnie, speaking of high school, guess who I ran into yesterday?
Ooh.
Rad.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. He
I
still look the
haven't
same too, man.
really.
Yeah,
I
he still
haven't
look the same.
seen.
He a little up here now, but yeah, I ran into him yesterday.
I have not seen or heard anything about that dude. since probably 2004. That's crazy.
Name on a
That's
left
blowing my
Yeah.
mind right now. I'm sitting there like I'm like mind blown right now, bro.
Oh man, if you mind blown now, wait till you see what I post in the throwbacks. As a throwback for what is it, Sunday?
Hmm.
I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm gonna call it Memory Monday. Got a throwback for you.
Cool.
You gonna hate me for it, but hey, yeah, all right.
Oh, it's all good, man.
You know what? Hey, just I know we live still, but um, he's a friend of both of ours, so I figure I'd ask George, what do you think about having Daquan on one
Who's
show?
that? Who's that? Which one?
Daquan Young?
We can.
Daquan Young?
I'm down.
Hey, we gotta talk to that man because I got beef with him. Want to make it public.
Hey, listen, man.
I,
I'm
I
all
got
about having a debate show. Again, you know how we do.
well,
We again just being able to
it ain't
bullshit
even
and
gonna
have
be no
fun.
debate. Yes, we gonna have fun, but it ain't gonna be no debate. It's gonna be a lot of anger because I'm still not
Oh, I'm
over
looking forward to that.
what he did, bro. I said that last story was gonna be the last story, but since we going back down arena memory lane, you remember the Western PA Sting in the
Yeah.
UIFL. So it was just like every other indoor team that go through their troubles or whatever. So I was talking
Well,
with Coach
they
Jeff
were
Heather. He
essentially
had
a
hit me
travel
up.
team,
Yeah, but here's my story with that.
which was always
Um,
brutal.
I was on the phone with Coach Jeff Heather, and he said he asked me if I would like to play in the game against Johnson. I said, yeah, sure. You know what you need? He's like, I need a lot. I was like, all right, well, just tell me what you need. I have no problem helping you out. And he's like, yeah, I need this, 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 and I need a quarterback if you find. I was like, man, I got you. I may not be able to find a quarterback, but worst case scenario, I'll play quarterback. I was bullshitting. Okay, I was talking shit. I didn't think he was gonna take me serious. He was like, you can play quarterback. I was like, I haven't played it since high school, but you know, if you get my head together, I got you. And hold that thought. An hour later, he sends me the Sting's playbook. He said, I
Oh
need you to
man.
learn this by Saturday. Like, seriously? Oh, damn. Okay. So I call up some friends of mine to help me, just run some routes. I'm going to throw this. This is what I got to do. Saturday gets here. I'm getting ready for the game. I got my receivers. I'm trying to get to know them. Put the decal on my helmet, all of that. Get out to the game. I did not realize this until I heard the announcer. I got sacked once. I threw an incompletion. And then the third play, I throw an interception. Guess who intercepts my pass?
Daquan.
Daquan Young. Yes. And the crazy part about it was I got hit on the play, so I didn't even see him catch it. I saw my receiver sitting wide open. I launched it. Next thing you know, I hear interception by Daquan Young. Ain't that a bitch? All
That was
right,
probably against
I'm
what,
cool.
NKY?
No, that was against John. He was playing for Johnstown. They had asked him to fill in for Johnstown.
That's right.
Crazy
He
part
was with
about it is
Johnstown
that
that year.
yeah,
I
and
was
the crazy
supposed to
part
be
about it
playing for
was
that team.
that interception got me benched, man. They put me back on defense for that. Still mad
Man.
about that. He could have let me get one pass completed before he started making me look bad. That was bad.
At
Man.
least give a SWAT.
Still not over that. Right. You ain't give me nothing. I was mad. I'm still not over that. I love Daquan like a distant cousin, but I'm still not over that. I'll never be over that. That was my one chance to shine, and he ruined it. So Ronnie, when your son grow up, don't ever let him play quarterback.
Oh man, I'll be honest. He want to be a hooper and everything. So I told him I was like, you gotta you gotta be made for this game, man. You can't just step out there and be trying to do a little something something because you're athletic, man. You gotta be all in. So I
Yeah,
said, you
don't
want
be
to be a
like your
hooper,
dad
fine,
trying to dunk and get hurt.
man.
All right. Since you want to be in the picture so bad, this is my son Roman. Roman, say hi to everybody. Say hi to the Loudmouth Sports people.
What's up, man?
All right, go on, beat it. Go there, go on, bother me. All right, fellas. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I'm about to watch this Bruce Lee 30 for 30 because I've been waiting
I
on this
forgot
one to come
about
on
that.
all month.
Oh yeah, they were
Yeah,
talking
I
about that
DVR'd
too.
it. So,
Yeah, I ain't check it out
yeah,
myself,
I'm
man.
about to watch this. We'll talk again, fellas. Appreciate you being on.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you guys
Definitely, man.
throughout
See
the
y'all
week.
next time.
Yes, sir. Talk to you guys
I'll
later.
let y'all.
Absolutely.
Yep.